Or how do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
I've seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement.
Floyd Mayweather has once again shook up the boxing world by calling out Jake Paul following the cancellation of the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Tank due to Tank's legal issues. Mayweather has made it clear that he is ready to face Jake, and this time he claims it will be a legitimate fight, not a performance. He also stated unequivocally that he would not move up and wait, implying that if the match occurs, it will be conducted in accordance with actual professional standards. The surprising call-out has piqued the interest of fans, who are keen to see if Floyd is truly preparing to return to the ring.
But at the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in or no?
Well, you know, if you go back, you got to do your homework, look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money. And
Davis's highly publicized fight with Jake Paul has been canceled due to the lawsuit and the investigation that comes with it. Most Valuable Promotions, his promoter, stated that they were investigating the incident and decided not to proceed with the event under these circumstances.
The situation, it was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way, way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th,
Davis's ex-girlfriend, Courtney Roselle, is suing him in civil court for an alleged incident that occurred on October 27th at a Miami nightclub where she works. According to Russell's lawsuit, Davis committed battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and willfully caused emotional distress. Davis, according to the lawsuit, dragged and assaulted her in various areas of the club, including the kitchen, stairwell, and parking garage. Miami Gardens police say an investigation is proceeding alongside the civil lawsuit.
Boxing champion Gervonta Tank Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami on...
Chaw Sonnen has addressed the controversy surrounding the probable cancellation of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight. He claimed he personally contacted both parties to find out what was going on. Sonnen claims he attempted to contact members of both Jake's and Tank's teams to determine whether the accusations were real, but neither side provided a straight answer. He observed that their silence just increased people's suspicions that something was wrong behind the scenes. Sonnen asserted that when neither competitor disputes a cancellation, it typically suggests underlying issues. He warned that the scenario could involve more than just scheduling, but potentially deeper legal and promotional issues.
Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched him weigh in. I want to say it was like...
Floyd has challenged Jake to fight him now that Tank's bout is in jeopardy. Floyd Mayweather has been open and honest regarding Jake Paul's boxing ability. He concedes that Paul is performing well in the crossover area and finds him intriguing, but he does not go so far as to call him a true boxer. Mayweather has stated that a match with Paul would be too simple, implying that Paul would not pose a big threat to someone as talented as him. He has also stated that Paul has discovered a profitable niche, but that fighting a world-class fighter would expose his lack of training, technique, and competitiveness.
There are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents, or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
Furthermore, many supporters believe there were still unresolved what-ifs because Mayweather refused to provide rematches. Conversely, Jake has consistently defeated individuals who are significantly older, beyond their prime, or significantly smaller than him. Mayweather has warned about the caliber of opponents Jake Paul has faced, but he has also stated that Paul is entertaining. He stated that if Paul fights a true fighter, the outcome may show him up.
Question is just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer. What do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
Some fighters and experts appreciate Floyd Mayweather not only for his speed or defensive abilities, but also for his way of thinking. They claim what made him exceptional was his unwavering faith in himself and the confidence that he could defeat anyone. Tony Jeff, for example, has spoken about how Mayweather's mental edge and confidence allowed him to control fights before they ever began.
They're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit. And
according to reports, Mayweather is also attempting to set up a bout with Mike Tyson, and analysts believe his move is more than simply a money grab. Analysts believe Floyd's decision stems from his desire to showcase his ability to generate news even after retirement. With everyone watching the Davis versus Paul bout, Mayweather doesn't seem to want anyone, including his apprentice, to outshine him. People say the situation is typical of Floyd, a man who enjoys being in the spotlight, competing, and making an imprint on history. Gervonta and Jake are preparing for their program, but Floyd's suspected fight raises a larger issue. Boxing icons are fighting to stay relevant in a rapidly changing sports environment.
Many celebrities and so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about whether
Jake Paul's promotional business is apparently contacting several well-known fighters about potential replacements for Davis, whose next fight is now in serious doubt due to legal difficulties. Jake Paul's team is reportedly contacting Terrence Crawford as a potential substitute opponent due to complications with the original fight against Gervonta Davis. There have been whispers about names in the news recently, but nothing has been confirmed. Crawford's unique status in the sport is what sets this match apart. If he were participating, every matchup would have significantly more stakes and validity. Having said that, Crawford has not agreed to anything in writing, and the discussions appear to be very early and unpredictable. Regardless, the excitement alone is enough to sway people's opinions. as fans wonder if Paul's team will suddenly face a more credible and heavyweight opponent.
Technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement: Ryan Garcia, Terence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, I mean, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. I mean, Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that was, because he was up for the fight. But Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul. But that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good looking kid, great fighter, fast stands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul. But to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him. Who else we've got? Terence Crawford. I can't see Terence Crawford entertaining this, but then you never know, do you? If the old bunts make sense, then it makes people do strange things. And Terence Crawford's getting on now, what is he, 37, 38 years old, had that great win against Canelo. Would he jump in with Jake Paul for mega money? Probably. He'd paced him as well. I mean, Terence Crawford would be too much for Jake Paul, even though he's up at 168 in his last fight, super middleweight, my old weight division. So I don't think Jake Paul would fight him. Francis Ngannou, I mean, why even chuck Ngannou in the mix? Ngannou would just hammer him. He's too big. I mean, he talked about Anthony Joshua. That never happened, did it? It's a load of bollocks. He talked about fighting AJ, then announced he's fighting someone the size of one of AJ's legs in Gervonta Davis. So for me, that's nothing. And the Nate Diaz fight, he's already fought him. It was a rubbish fight.
Many people disliked Jake and Tank's battle. Carl Froch, another boxer, has called Jake Paul and Davis's proposed fight a rubbish one. Froch claims the fight isn't really competitive because Paul has boxing expertise and Davis is plainly better at it. He claimed that Paul was more of a show boxer than a true contender, and that actual boxing fans would not like the fight. Froch is unconcerned about who wins. All he wants to know is whether the fight should be treated as seriously as a real battle between two elite professionals.
Absolute clown world. Really fitting for fake Paul, the clown, because it's a clown show. You're putting him in with somebody who's 100 pounds lighter. I mentioned the weight disparity before. Getting on for 7 stone. It's a weight-governed sport. It should not be happening. He's too small, Gervonta Davis, against the big Jake Paul, who's in the gym a lot, training. Apparently he's fit and strong and he has a go and he can fight a little bit, which I disagree with because I don't think he can. He might be able to fight a little bit. He certainly can't box. But these allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. For me, they need to be locked up in the key front.
Amir Khan described the fight as an incredibly terrible match. Khan shouted at the promoters for agreeing to what he called torture, claiming that hurting someone is simply not fair to Davis. Paul is reputed to weigh more than 200 pounds, whereas Davis has never fought heavier than 140 pounds. Khan described the coupling as hazardous and exploitative and questioned whether Davis simply wanted to make money and leave the sport.
Away from the sport.
I think Jake Paul, he gets on my nerves a little bit. I think the way he conducts himself, the way he acts, and I think he's just full of himself as well. And he thinks he can fight. And he's only been boxing for what, like a year. But he's been very lucky though. He has he's had some good wins against like MMA fighters. He's a little bit heavier than me, but I don't mind putting the pounds on just.
Some others are wondering why the combat had to be called off at all, claiming that Tank is still in excellent shape and ready to fight despite his legal issues. They claim that many athletes have fought while facing active accusations in the past, leading them to believe that the decision was based on how the fighters seemed to the public and the organization rather than their safety. Many supporters believe that the fight should have gone on as planned if Tank was still willing to fight. This is especially true given all the publicity and money that went into it. Others, on the other hand, emphasize how serious the allegations are. If the event had occurred, it may have resulted in a massive backlash for those concerned.
So, did Gervonta Davis's cancellation of his fight with Jake Paul, was it the right decision from Jake Paul, his team, and Netflix? Did they make the right move to cancel the Gervonta Davis fight? I want to know y'all thoughts in the comment section. We'll probably do a longer video on this later, but I want y'all to interact and let me know y'all thoughts. Now that we know the fight is canceled, they announced it late yesterday while we were in the middle of our live stream. What is your thoughts? Do you think the fight should have been canceled? Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all.
What do you think about all this? Should Floyd Mayweather fight Jake Paul right now, or should the promoters wait until Tank's legal issues are resolved? Please share your thoughts in the comments